Hello, I'm Susan Woods, your self-appointed Black Lives Matter fraud investigator. Thank you so much for your time. As promised, I am analyzing the Form 990 information return that the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation submitted to the IRS for the year 2020. This is episode 1. Into the Form 990, I would like to point out some information from the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation's determination letter that the IRS gave them in 2020. The determination letter is the letter that informs a nonprofit organization that they have earned 501c3 status. The date of this determination letter is December the 2nd, 2020. There are a few things I want to point out on this letter that's going to be pertinent to our analysis of the Form 990 information return. Point out to you is the accounting period ending date, which as you can see is December the 31st. The accounting period ending date is the date in which a nonprofit organization plans to operate their fiscal year or their calendar year. So if a nonprofit chooses to use December the 31st as the period ending date, that means they plan to operate from January 1st through December the 31st as their calendar year, or if they want to call it their fiscal year, their 12-month time frame. This is important because this date, this ending date, determines when the Form 990 is due to the IRS. Now, the Form 990, of course, is the form that I'm analyzing, and it's the form that the nonprofit organizations submit to show transparency, to show how revenues were spent, how expenses were incurred, and to provide information about what the nonprofit organization did in the year that it is reporting. So the December the 31st date determines when the Form 990 is due. And in this case, the Form 990 is due on May the 15th because a Form 990 is due 5 months and 15 days after the accounting period ending date. So 5 months and 15 days is May the 15th. So in that case, that means the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation's Form 990 information return is due by May the 15th of each year. So that's one thing to note. The next thing I would like for you to note is the effective date of exemption. The effective date of exemption is August the 28th, 2020. And that means that the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation filed its articles of incorporation with a Secretary of State office, and the Secretary of State office approved those articles on August the 28th, 2020. So they will have a filing date for their articles of incorporation of August the 28th, 2020, stamped on their filed articles of incorporation. That's very, very important because all nonprofit organizations must get the approval of the Secretary of State in the state in which they plan to operate on their filed articles of incorporation before they can operate in that state. In other words, you cannot operate a nonprofit organization in a state without filing the articles of incorporation in that state to get permission to operate in that state first. So whichever state the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation filed its articles of incorporation, the Secretary of State's office approved them and stamped them as approved on August the 28th, 2020. Since the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation has a California date mailing address, on this determination letter, you would think that they filed the articles of incorporation to operate in the state of California. So again, this is very, very important. This date, August 28th, 2020, is the date of incorporation with the Secretary of State's office. So these are two very important points of information that I wanted you to write down or to memorize because it's going to come up again. So now let's take a look at the Form 990 information return that the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation submitted to the IRS for the year 2020. Now, 2020 is important because this is the information return that so many people have been asking to see. The attorney generals have been asking to see it. Secretary of State offices have been asking to see it. News reporters have been asking to see it. Regular people have been asking to see it because this is the year, 2020 is the year that the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation admitted to generating $90 million in the wake of the George Floyd murder, which happened on May the 25th, 2020. So everybody wanted to see, okay, how have they used the money, or how are they using the $90 million that they admit to generating during that time frame? So let's talk more about this first part of the Form 990 information return, which is the heading. The heading includes lines or items A through M. So this is the heading of the Form 990 information return that the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation submitted to the IRS for review for 2020. Let's dig in. So item A, for the 2020 calendar year, or if you want to call it a tax year, beginning July the 1st, 2020 and ending June the 30th, 2021. But wait a minute. On the determination letter, the accounting period ending time frame was December the 31st. So how is it now June the 30th? This tells me clearly that someone changed their fiscal year. But why would they change the fiscal year from January 1st through December the 31st to July the 1st of one year to June the 30th of the next year? Why did they change the 12-month time frame of accounting? Could it be because they were trying to avoid reporting the millions of dollars that they generated or received in May and June of 2020? Could that be the issue? Again, the determination letter stated January 1st through December 31st would be their fiscal year or their calendar year of operation. But here, clearly, it's changed. And that's a red flag to me. Why would you change? And then still report by the May 15th deadline. If you were going to change a fiscal year, you could have reported later. This makes no sense. That's the first red flag. Let's keep looking. The second red flag for me is receipts. Now, according to their own reporting on their website, they generated $90 million, received $90 million in 2020. However, they are reporting here on item G, $79,644,823. What happened to the $90 million? We're almost short $11 million. So where is the money? Where is the $90 million? What happened? Again, according to their own Black Lives Matter 2020 impact report that is on their blacklivesmatter.com website, they reported $90 million. But here they're showing $79 million. What is going on with that? That's red flag number 2. Is the name and address of the principal officer. The principal officer shown here is Shalamaya Bowers, and his mailing address is 248 3rd Street, Oakland, California, Suite 305. Well, according to several news outlets, when people have gone to that address to speak with Mr. Bowers about the 501c3 nonprofit organization, Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, and its financial records, no one is there. As a matter of fact, a reporter stated that the security guards said that that is not the correct address for the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. So that's a red flag for me. Where are you actually located? Now, this is the same address that was on the determination letter as well. Apparently, they've moved and not forwarded their address, or something else is going on. So that's a red flag number 3. So another thing that goes along with this red flag number 3 is the fact that Mr. Bowers, who is a sitting principal officer of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, received $2,167,894 for his consulting services. He has a consulting business. So the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation paid him over $2 million to provide consulting services. So this goes right along with red flag number 3, right? What type of consulting services could you provide in 2020 that's worth $2 million? And does it matter that you're great friends with Patrice Concoolers, who we know is one of the 3 founders of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, as well as was sitting on the board when you received this $2 million compensation for consulting? Shalimar Bowers, an image of him. He, again, as sitting on the board of directors, received $2 million in consulting fees. That's a major conflict of interest. How can a board member receive $2 million for his private for-profit business to provide services for the nonprofit in which he sits on the board? That's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag that someone needs to investigate. So far we have 3 red flags. Let's keep going. Let's look at item 11. Item L. Item L, year of formation 2017 in the state of Delaware. Now, this is a red flag for me because you remember when we looked at the letter, the determination letter said December 28th, 2020 was the year of formation, right? So why does it say 2017 here? And why would the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, located in California, file their articles of incorporation in Delaware? Makes sense. Now, let me just say this. Nonprofit organizations can file their articles of incorporation in all 50 states if they choose to, if they plan to operate in those states, because once again, you have to get approval from the Secretary of State's office in order to operate your nonprofit in a state. So maybe they are operating in Delaware as well as other states. That's fine. But the question is, why is the state of legal domicile Delaware when you are housed in California as your headquarters? That doesn't make sense. And then what about the year of formation again? It says 2017 here, but it was 2020 on the determination letter. So why the discrepancy? What's going on with that? There is a discrepancy between 2017 and 2020. Which one is right? Which one is state of Delaware, Secretary of State's office online? The organization is not in good standing. You have to be in good standing in order to operate in a state. So here are 4 red flags that I found for the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. Number 1, on item A, the fiscal year changed from January the 1st to December the 31st to July the 1st to June the 30th. Then red flag number 2 is with the money, the gross receipts. Item G, reporting 79 million, but you said you earned 90 million. Red flag number 3 is with the board of directors, with the Mr. Shalimar Bowers, who is an official on the board charged with governing the activities of the nonprofit organization. But at the same time, he is earning $2 million for his for-profit consulting business, which is a glaring conflict of interest. And then finally, the 4th red flag that I see just on this heading section is with item 11, the year of formation. It's 2017 shown here, but on the determination letter is 2020. On the determination letter, and also here, the address is California. However, the state of legal domicile in item M here is Delaware. So these are my red flags just for the heading. I cannot imagine how many red flags we're going to find throughout the entire Form 990, which is 63 pages long. In summary, the analysis results in heading items in the heading, which includes item A through M, 4 red flags already. The next video, which is episode 2, we're going to talk about part 1, the summary. Again, this is Susan Woods, your Black Lives Matter self-appointed investigator. Thank you so much for your time and your support. I am so glad other people are taking up this issue and reporting on their platforms. The more people report, the better. Thank you again for your time and have a great day.